Super duper. Good evening, everyone. Those that are here live and those who are catching up on a recording. If you don't know me, I'm Pete. I'm a holistic therapist. I work with people online. I help them get past pain, usually. But in my studies, in my kind of learning over the last 10, 12 years, um, things have kind of led me onto emotions. And I've been helping people with that for quite a while. And actually, just last week, I kind of upgraded my knowledge on that. And we'll be going through that process at some point later on. So I just want you to, if you haven't had treatment with me before, just remain open-minded. This is a different process to what you are used to. I don't know if many people have had online treatment before, or like distant work before. This is not quite distant work because I'm going to be teaching you how to do this yourself to some degree. Okay, not quite to the level of detail that I would go into one-to-one, but kind of enough so that it's going to significantly help you with tonight's focus is on stress, but it can be used on just emotions in general. So anywhere in life where you feel overwhelmed, triggered, angry, sad, stuff that happened years ago, stuff that you worried about in the future, stuff that you worried about today. So yeah, just remain open-minded. Okay, be open to all possibilities going on in this session. Okay, so I'm going to start with something. Okay, so imagination creates reality. So Lucy, I don't think really needs to do this bit, and but everyone else, I want you to give this a go. So you're going to need to stand up, and again, this I'm going to do this backwards for Jenny because I know she's hypermobile. So if anyone watching this is hypermobile, we're going to do this backwards. We're going to do it backwards first, and then the way I would normally do it after. So you're going to stand up and reach down for the ground, okay, and just see where you get to. And if you're hypermobile, you're probably getting quite close to the ground. And if you're not hypermobile, maybe you're not so close to the ground. Okay, so for the hypermobile person, you are going to think the words stiff, stiff as a board. Okay, stiff as a board, stiff and tight. There we go, stiff and tight, stiff and tight. Think hopefully you're standing back up. So stiff and tight, stiff and tight, stiff and tight. And then you're going to reach down for the ground again. Now, fingers crossed, this works about 90% of the time. In this case, you're going to stiffen up. If I can get a thumbs up or a quick something in the chat box saying, yeah, I stiffened up, or no, it's just helpful to know where we're at. So it's a very quick test. Yeah, thumbs up, just so you stiffened up. Cool, cool. Okay, now we can go the opposite way. So just using words, no fancy stuff that I would normally do. Okay, you're going to think the words strong and flexible. Okay, and just remember back to the first time you reach down to your toes, strong and flexible, strong and flexible, strong and flexible. Okay, that's all you need to do. Say it 3 times out loud, preferably, but in your head is fine. And then reach down for the ground again. Okay, and hopefully this time you got down further to the ground, or you got down the same distance, but it felt easier. Okay, the tightness in your hamstrings or the tightness in your lower back improved. Okay, or possibly even your calves. Okay, so tightness could be anywhere down that kind of region. Again, if I can get a thumbs up or a little, yeah. Okay, cool. Nice one. Okay, so the things we think, the words we say, the emotions we feel, they affect how our body responds to the world. So what we're going to be doing tonight is looking primarily at stress in a kind of a teaching slash work environment, so that your body responds at least neutrally to the things that would normally trigger you. Okay, the things that would make you stressed essentially tighten up and stiffen up, your heart rate increase, and your guts would change, and all these kinds of other physiological things happen when we're stressed. They don't happen, so that you're more able to have essentially more thinking power. Okay, so when we're stressed, blood doesn't quite go to our frontal cortex, okay, the main kind of the outer bit of our brain. Okay, if you look up the little pictures behind me, say that's the bit we recognize as brain, the outside bit. Okay, blood does not quite go there quite as well. Okay, we produce different neurotransmitters, we produce like in different quantities. So instead of kind of nice happy oxytocin dopamine, neurotransmitters will produce kind of stressy, less happy, or just not good, not as kind of higher quantities of the ones that we want. Okay, so that might make us feel a bit down. It might make us feel a bit sad. It might make us feel a bit angry. Okay, because we're not in balance. We're not where we should be. Our natural state is calm and peaceful. Okay? And if we are not calm and peaceful, we are in an unnatural state. Okay, we should not be in pain. This might be a surprise. Okay, we should not ever be in pain. Okay, or if we are, it should be very brief, okay, like days instead of months. We should not be in constant states of stress. We should not constantly be tired. We should have good energy pretty much all of the time. And I'm talking like tiredness energy. So, yes, I'm going to go on to, so we've tested it out. We kind of now know and understand and have experienced that our thoughts and our beliefs change how our body works. Okay. It also changes how we think, changes what we do, changes what we say, changes how we respond to people in the world. Okay. And when we can do that, that's a very powerful thing, because instead of getting snappy or angry at somebody, okay, or kind of not getting angry and snappy at somebody, but kind of speaking through gritted teeth, and it's like, yes, yeah, I'm smiling at you, but actually inside I want to rip your head off. People feel that and they understand that. Okay, even if they're not outwardly showing that they're seeing and feeling that. Okay, so somebody will on an unconscious level know that you're angry, they'll know that you're stressed, they'll know that you're sad. Okay, but what they'll do is they'll go, oh, there's something not quite right with Lucy today. Okay, because Lucy's speaking through gritted teeth with a kind of a bit of a funny expression on her face. Okay, they can't quite put their finger on it. Inside, Lucy's blood is boiling, but outwardly she's smiling and saying the right things. So the words are right, but the expression is wrong. Okay, so people understand that. They read our body language, and we're not even aware that we're doing it. Okay, so we can say that we're fine, all that we like. Okay, yeah, I'm doing good, but your face and your body is telling a completely different story. So tonight we're going to work on changing that so that your words match what you feel. Okay, so that we're more able to kind of go, that stressful person, that stressful event, that stressful situation that regularly happens in my day and in my week, excuse me, it's not going to affect me as much as it used to. Instead of an 8 out of 10, it's maybe a 4, a 2, or possibly even gone. Okay, the ideal would be that it's gone, and if we remain open-minded, we can get it to go. Okay, if we remain like, I'm not quite sure whether this is going to work or not, we might get to a 5 or a 4. If we go, actually, I'm going to leave the door completely open for this to be completely gone, and it's much more likely to completely go. So just do your best to leave the door completely open for stress and the things that we work on tonight to completely evaporate. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but at least you've left the door open. So mentally just say, I'm leaving the door open. Okay, the door is open for these stresses to completely go, to completely evaporate, to change 100%. Okay, so I want to do a brief explainer on a couple of little things. I think this is, for me, is very, very important. So I'm just going to go on to screen share, if I remember how to do it. Where is it? This is very important to me. Cool. Can I get a little, again, the thumbs up that you can see a screen of a website with some lovely colors and words on it? Cool. Thank you very much. So what we're covering really is anything below this dotted line. Okay, so the dotted line there is in the yellow section. And below that line are essentially, in quote unquote, negative emotions, the ones we don't want to feel. Okay, and above that dotted line are ones that we want to kind of, ideally, we want to move towards. And I'm going to talk a little bit about chakras. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing tonight involves chakras. Again, leave the door completely open. Be open-minded to this. This process seems to work. I've been working on it. This particular process tonight, yes, only just over a week, but it's made a significant impact on my home life, which is where the majority of my stress is with my two beautiful children, but they do enjoy arguing and fighting and saying no. And that really gets under my skin. So I've been predominantly working there for me because that's my highest, essentially my highest stress. So I have been much more capable in the last 6 or 7 days to remain at the very least neutral, and at the best I've been very, very peaceful and approached these things in a very different way to how I was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been trying that for a long time. So I can say from personal experience that what you're going to learn tonight is very, very helpful. And if you change how you respond to one person, that's going to have ripple effects on how other people respond to you. So cool. So chakras, so we've got the first three. So we focus on this column of level. Okay, so these are the key things I'm going to be focusing on. So shame, guilt, and apathy. They're right down in the root chakra. So when I talk about root chakra, and when I ask you to place your hand for root chakra, it's kind of the front of your pelvis, right down. Okay, right down at the top, right down at the bottom of your tummy. Okay, so place your hand there. Just think root chakra. You'll hear me say the words. The next is the it's not solar plexus chakra. Oh my word, how is that? The word has just escaped me. No. Oh my God. Chakra 2. Let's just call it chakra 2. Okay. Because my mind has gone completely blank on what it's called. That's how terrible. Sorry. The next one up, number 2, you put your hand an inch or so below your belly button. Okay. So between your belly button and your pelvis. Okay. And that is grief and fear. And then number 3, the solar plexus chakra, the one I do remember there, okay, is then desire, anger, and pride. Okay, again, when I'm working one-to-one with someone, I will find which one of them it is. Tonight, we're just going to go through all of them in the method that we'll go through. And we're going to kind of link that together with triggering moments. And what I might do, I've written down a few potential triggering moments that you might experience in your day, and I'll run through them now. But I'd also like you to think, because maybe I'll change what we do depending on what you say in the chat box. So yes, we'll go that. Stop share. Where are you? Stop share. Cool. Okay, so I've written down 2, 3, 4. I did have 5. I got rid of one. Of things that might cause stress in a teacher's day. Things that from experience I know teachers might not like, or they get a little bit like, I don't like how these things are going. So we've got morning meetings. Okay, your staff meeting before school. There might be a specific staff member, again, that could be anyone. Okay, so we'll probably keep that one in. Almost everyone has got a work colleague that they like, I don't really like that person. In fact, I would go so far as say they piss me off every time I see them. Okay, there might be a specific student you're thinking of. Okay, that might be just a challenging student. Okay, they might not be a bad kid. They're just not there. Okay, or they're constantly disruptive. Okay, again, they might have a diagnosis, they might have ADHD, they might have something like that, but they might just cause a lot of disruption in your lessons. Okay. Yeah, my 4th one is any other stressful moment that regularly occurs. Okay. So, oh yes, and This one was just a side one. Okay, so sometimes it could be an environment. So an environment by your office, the staff room, the dining room, basically any region of the school where you regularly feel a bit out of sorts. So have a little think about those, and if you would add anything to that, or you would take anything away, or if you go, do you know what, Pete, let's do those four, those or five. Let's just stick with those. Fine. Okay. And we'll go stick with those. And but if you've got other suggestions and we kind of like them, we'll go with those as well. So I'll just give you a moment to write anything down. How are we doing so far? Everyone okay? Yes. Okay. Unnecessary meetings and people speaking for too long in meetings rather than getting to the point. Yes. Okay. Cool. I hear you on that one. I've been in plenty of those. Workload and deadlines and people not knowing what work I do and the constant juggle of it all. Okay. So if we can, okay. So I'll add that to morning meeting. Okay. So morning meeting, I just want that to get to the point. Okay. I mean, workload, both Jerry, sorry, Jenny and Kerry, um, it's both really, it's deadlines, isn't it? Um, so if I get rid of any other stressful event and put in deadlines, what's the word I'm thinking of? What is it when, as we're teachers here, so hopefully you know this. So like, what is it when deadlines are kind of, they're too tight? Okay. They're kind of not unexpected. They're why can't I, not enough, too much stress going on right now trying to teach this stuff to a new audience. Um, deadlines, unrealistic. There we go. Unrealistic. There we go. I knew it was there somewhere. I knew someone would have it. Unrealistic deadlines. Yeah, not smart goals. Okay, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time restrained. I remember business A level. Um, cool. So that's what we're going to go for. So getting to the point in meetings, we're going to have a specific staff member, obviously your choice. I don't know who you work with. A specific student and unrealistic deadlines. Those are the ones we're going to go for. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll do them in that order. Okay. So the next thing to do, just close the chat box. I'm going to walk you through the process. Okay, so I'm going to give you the trigger. Okay, so the trigger is people not getting to the point. Okay, I'm going to walk you through this first before we do it fully. You're going to hold that in mind. Okay, people not getting to the point. Okay, it's going to cause you a small amount of stress just by thinking about that. You're going to place your hand on the root chakra very briefly. Pinch the bridge of your nose, just that little bit of skin there. Okay, you're going to bring your hand up to chakra 2, sacral chakra. There we go. There it is. Okay, you're going to pinch the bridge of your nose. You're going to bring your hand up to the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus chakra, and you're going to pinch the bridge of your nose. Then we're going to take one hand, doesn't matter which, to the top of your head. And then your other hand, you're going to go back down to the root chakra. At that point, we're going to do 5 breaths. And on each breath, when you breathe out, you're going to say a phrase, which I said, I'm just going to read out. Okay. Preferably, you say it. You can just say it in your head. It seems to have a better effect when we say it out loud. So that's it. Okay. Oh, and the breath. Okay, so important thing on the breath. The breath is really deep. Okay, so I'll give you a demo. And you really fill your chest up all the way to the top. You fill it from the bottom first. So try and do a belly breath all the way up. And as you breathe out, you're going to say or think the words that I say. So we're going to do one other little thing before we start. So pick something stressful out of that list. Okay, stressful person, long meetings, unrealistic deadlines, or a specific student. Okay, and just notice when you think about this trigger, how does your face feel? Okay, do your lips get tense? Does you get tension in your cheeks or in your jaw? Do you get tension around your eyebrows and around your forehead? Do you feel just tense around your neck? Okay, I want you to notice that when you think about this person, because that can be our kind of yardstick for when you think about it again at the end. How does my face feel? Okay. It's where we can also use our voice if we're speaking them. It's like morning meetings, get to the point, get to the point. We can notice the quality of our voice. So when we're saying something that stresses us out or thinking about something that stresses us out, it changes how our voice sounds. So when we're de-stressed, our voice will sound relaxed. Okay. And when we are stressed or angry or whatever, our voice tone will change as the muscles in our throat tighten up and changes how we speak. So listening to our own voice is a helpful kind of additional tip. Okay, I do muscle testing. Again, a couple of you have experienced that. Kerry, probably not. I don't think, unless you've seen a kinesiologist or possibly a chiropractor who uses muscle testing. Not many practitioners, in my experience, use muscle testing. They just have their thing. And muscle testing gives us a yes or a no, true or not true, or kind of good for us, or certainly not bad for us, and bad for us, which we kind of covered. So the stretch test we did at the beginning was a very rudimentary form of muscle testing. So if you ever want to know the truth, something that's good for you, you test yourself and go, okay, right, I can get to my shins or my ankles when I reach down. Okay, and then you think about something as like, okay, does that stretch feel easier? That's a very rudimentary kind of long-winded muscle testing, but it is a form of muscle testing. You will get more flexible when you think about something that is positive, and you'll get less flexible when you think about something that is negative. And that's a global, body-wide effect. Anyway, I'm rambling. So let's get on with the process. So place your hand down just onto the very kind of front of your pelvis, the root chakra. Okay, and we're going to think, get to the point in meetings. Get to the point in meetings. You've already got your hand on your root chakra. Pinch the bridge of your nose. Okay, and that covers shame, guilt, and apathy. Okay, we're going to bring our hand up a couple of inches to below our belly button. And we're still going to keep in mind, get to the point in morning meetings. Pinch the bridge of our nose. That now covers fear and grief. Bring your hand a couple of inches to just below your ribs. Morning meetings or meetings, get to the bloody point. Pinch your nose. Now we're covering desire, anger, and pride. Take one hand to the top of your head. And you're going to start tapping. Take your other hand down to the root chakra again, just above your pelvis. And then breathe in really deeply. We'll go through the phrases as we go. Just repeat them or think them out loud when I say them. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. And as you breathe out, it's safe to let this go. Next breath. It's time to let this go. Next breath. I am letting this go. Okay, fourth breath. I release all underlying emotions. Final breath. Thank you. Goodbye. It's done. Okay. And then just relax for a moment, taking a couple of normal breaths. And now think about morning meetings, meetings just going on too long. Okay. People just not getting to the point in the meetings. And I'm aware that's something I kind of do. Okay. But I think what I say is important. So, but that's all people are doing. So how does it feel when you think about morning meetings going on too long? They are too much and unnecessary. How do they feel? Okay, does it feel less stressful when you think about it? Has your voice changed when you kind of say those words out loud? Okay. Doing that for me, even though I don't go to these meetings, albeit I do a little bit because I work in a school now, but not as much as a teacher does because I'm support staff. How does it feel? Okay. Okay. So feel more relaxed about it. Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing, by doing that, by feeling more relaxed about it, by feeling more peaceful about it, those meetings will probably shorten up. Okay. Or some kind of policy will go in place where you go, do you know what? You've got 5 minutes to speak and that's it. Okay. Instead of rambling on for 10. Okay. Or you just be like, yeah, do you know what? We don't need Lucy in this meeting. Okay. So it's like, okay, we don't need Lucy here. So Lucy, go off and do whatever it is. Something will change. Or at the very least, you'll be there and you won't be so affected by it. Okay, so I don't know if Jenny, Kerry, and again anyone watching on replay, you won't be able to. If you're watching on replay, you won't be able to leave it in the chat, but you can feel free to send me a message on email or Facebook or wherever um, about how that's changed for you. Um, so next one, we're going to go to a specific staff member, and I want you to go to someone who you currently work with. Okay, you could also very easily do this with someone who you used to work with, who, when you think about them, still causes you stress. Okay, because when you work on this kind of stuff, it works on everything. Okay, so it's working on stress, any stress that you've had with essentially stressful people in your life, but by working on one of them, it's working just a little bit on all of them. Okay, so we don't need to do this person by person. You'd be doing that for a very, very long time. So by working on one, you are working on all the people, all the relationships that you found stressful. Um, but we're going to pick a work colleague first. Okay. So hold someone in mind, have their name. Maybe it's something they do in particular that annoys you, but have this person who gets under your skin at work, have them in mind. It's exactly the same process. Okay, so one hand just onto your pelvis, root chakra. Okay, and again, we're implying that we're working on all three emotions down here. It's shame, apathy, and guilt. Okay, shame, apathy, and guilt. Pinch the bridge of your nose. Move up. Pinch the bridge of your nose. That's fear and grief. Move up again. Desire, anger, and pride. Take one hand to the top of your head. Other hand comes down to just above the pelvis. Start tapping and breathe in. It is safe to let this go. Okay, make sure that breath is really, really big. It's time to let this go. Third breath. I am letting this go. Fourth breath. I release all underlying emotions. Fifth breath. Thank you. goodbye, cheerio. It's done. Okay. And relax, take again a couple of normal breaths and bring this person back to mind. Are they still having a similar effect on you? Okay, check your face, check how you say their name. Does their name still stick in your throat a little bit? Does the kind of the raspiness of your voice, has that gone? Your facial expressions, does it feel just more relaxed around your eyebrows and around your cheeks and jaw? Does your face feel a bit more tingly as blood flow is coming back to your face? These are all just little things to be looking out for in your own body as you do this. Hey, I don't need to know who it is, but when you think about them, are they feeling kind of less stressful to you? Definitely less blood boiling. Cool. Sometimes these things do need a repeat. So if you're not feeling it, just stick your hand up. We'll do the same one again. Um, and that's fine. Um, it's not necessarily going to be like completely gone first time. It can, um, but it may not. We're just looking for less, really. And again, okay, shoulders dropped, good stuff. That's a really good one because if you're up here, okay, that again, if I do that, okay, that changes my voice. Okay, if my head's forward and I've got a forward neck posture, that's changing my voice. And if I can, if my head relaxes and comes back to a nice kind of neutral position, okay, and you can kind of neutral is really is kind of a flat neck. Okay, our neck should be really quite flat, but most people are kind of like this. Um, Again, that changes the quality of our voice because it affects how the flow of air comes out of our throat and through our vocal cords. So if our head's like this, um, that changes our voice. Okay, this is something I noticed a few years ago with actors. You see a lot of actors, I would say um, the majority of actors I see on TV or movies in particular, okay, very straight necks, okay, very straight necks because they need that to be able to project their voice. Okay, helps will need repetition, but a good tool. Yeah, I mean, I'm using it regularly. Okay, I do it again. I'm doing it slightly differently. I'm not doing it. This is a very general purpose. Through muscle testing, I'm identifying the specific chakra, the specific emotion, um, and I've got more tools in my own toolkit which I can add to this. But as a kind of a very not very general, but a very good general thing. Hey, how else? How quick is this in comparison to say other tools you might have learned? Okay, and how easy is it? Okay, it's 2 minutes. Okay, to go through each thing. So anywhere you have essentially stress or discomfort in your life, you can use this. Okay, giving away my secrets. Okay, so we're going to go on to a specific student. And then finally, it will be unrealistic deadlines. That's a really big one. I see that a lot at home. Um, and sometimes there's self-imposed as well. But sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. So we put a very unrealistic deadline on ourselves and say, no, it has to be done by tomorrow. And you're up till 1 o'clock in the morning trying to get stuff done. Okay. It's not great. So anyway, we're going to think of a specific student. Okay. Just one that's difficult for you. Think of their name, maybe think of something they do in the classroom, um, something about them that just kind of brings the shoulders up, tightens you all up, and we're going to work on that. Okay, so hand right down by your pelvis, into the nose with this person in mind. And again, shame, guilt, apathy. Chakra 2, pinch nose, guilt and fear, grief and fear, sorry. And then chakra 3, pinch nose, desire, anger, pride. Hand back down to the root chakra, tapping on the top of the head, big breath in. It's safe to let this go. Breath 2, really big. It's time to let this go. Third breath. I am letting this go. Fourth breath. I release all underlying emotions. Fifth breath. Thank you. Goodbye. It's done. Okay, stop tapping, relax your hands. Think about this person again. Okay, what happens when you say their name? Okay, I don't know if you can notice things in my voice. I'm not even thinking about a specific person, but my voice has really just become a lot smoother. I can feel the quality of my voice has changed. My shoulders are more relaxed. The tension in my face is still a bit there. It's kind of in the cheeks and a little bit around the forehead, but there's noticeable change in my own thing, and I'm not even thinking about a specific student, okay, or a specific person doing it. It's just the very process of doing it. So hopefully thinking about a specific student there has helped you kind of just take the stress out of thinking about that person. Okay, again, if I could get a little bit of feedback, again, if I was doing this one-to-one, I'd be able to see your facial expressions. I'd be able to hear your voice because I wouldn't be recording this and sharing this out. Obviously, I'm only sharing this out to a few people, but it's not going public, is what I mean. More relaxed about them. Good stuff. Okay. Harder. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to pick kids out, really. We don't want to go, oh God, that kid really gets under my skin, or that kid is like they're the worst. As a professional teacher, I'm sure um, you don't want to do that, but it's almost certain that it happens. Um, it's almost certain that there's one or a few kids who are like, oh God, yeah, no, this one. Yes, there is always a reason. Yeah, there is always a reason behind somebody's behavior. Okay, so that's, yeah, obvious. That's, I mean, maybe that's not obvious. There is always a reason behind somebody's behavior. And for a child, there might be kind of as I said earlier, there might be a diagnosis, there might be something going on at home, there might be all kinds of things going on. So yes, it's not necessarily the child's fault that they are like they are, but it's how we can respond to them. Okay, if we can respond to them, if we think that somebody is causing us stress, we're going to respond to them differently than if we have kind of more neutral thoughts about them. Okay, again, our tone of voice will change, our demeanor, our behavior will change, and that will have a greater positive effect on that person. Okay, so you will be able to remain a more neutral, peaceful, loving person in the presence of that person who you just picked. Okay, so it's not a bad thing to pick somebody out, because if you can do that for them, then you're going to be a better person for them. Okay, so don't be afraid to pick somebody out. Okay, it's not you being, oh no, that kid's a real ass. Okay, it's, do you know what? I want to be a better person for them, so that when they're in my presence, I am not stressed. And in my non-stressed state, I can deliver a better quality of care for them. Okay, if it's in a classroom, that maybe they listen more. If it's in a kind of an outside of a classroom environment, more of an office situation, again, you're going to be able to be more clear and get through to them better. Okay, you're going to be more understanding, more calm, not looking at your watch as, God, I've got another meeting in 10 minutes kind of thing. Okay, so it's about you being able to be more present and deliver more to them. Okay, so I understand where you're coming from. It's like, ooh, okay, it's not these kids' fault. Okay, it's about being a better me so that I can be better for them. Okay, and if you pick out one of these kind of tricky kids, okay, it might not be that whoever you picked. Yes, definitely works at home. I'm doing this at home myself. Regularly. So, and I can honestly say it's helpful. So we're going to move on to the last one, so that EastEnders and Hollyoaks can be watched. Um, so, okay, so the last one is unrealistic deadlines or unrealistic expectations, I suppose, from whoever it might be, senior leadership, let's say. Maybe it's a particular senior leader. Maybe you've already thought about them in the previous section, but we're going to go for unrealistic deadlines. You all want to be great teachers. You want to be great members of staff at a school. We want to get things done at the right time in an appropriate way. Sometimes the pressure gets a lot. Okay. And that, again, that's the same in pretty much any job. The pressure gets a lot to be able to deliver the right quality at the right time in the right time frame. And sometimes just there's so many jobs going on. You've got so many plates spinning. You've got home life, you've got family stuff going on yourself. And then you've got all this stuff at work. Okay. And then you've got kids, this kid's got trouble at home. This kid's got this diagnosis, Okay. 1,000 things going on in your head. Okay. And then you get given a project and it has to be done by next week. And it's like, okay, this is a 6-month project and you want me to do it in 2 weeks. Okay. So maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but that's the kind of thing. Okay. So maybe think of a project or a task that you've been given with unrealistic deadlines and unrealistic expectations. Okay, one from the past that maybe you've already completed, or maybe one that you're expecting in the new term, or one that maybe you've already been told about and you're like, oh, God, I'm a little bit worried about getting that done on time. So this can be done for stuff back, caused you a lot of grief in the past, or one you're worried about in the future. It could be any time. Okay. And again, this will work on all projects coming up. Okay. So hand down onto your root chakra. Okay. Shame, grief, guilt, apathy. Pinch nose. Hand up onto the second chakra, fear and grief. Pinch in your nose. Third chakra, pinch in your nose. And then we've got desire, anger, and pride. Hand up onto the top of the head, start tapping. Other hand down to the root chakra again, just on your pelvis. And take big breath in. All the way in. It's safe to let this go. Breath 2. It's time to let this go. Breath 3. I am letting this go now. Breath 4. All the way in, all the way in. I release all underlying emotions. Breath 5. Thank you. Goodbye. It's done. And you can stop tapping. Okay. Cool. So, how do unrealistic expectations, unrealistic deadlines, when you think about a past, present, or future project where you've been like, how the hell am I going to do this? Um, how does that feel? Because the stuff that happened in the past, that's going to affect how we respond today. Okay. Our life is made up of our perceptions of all the things that have happened to us. Okay. Or all the events that have happened in our life. Our body, our life, the people we meet is an expression of what we feel predominantly. So by working on these emotions, these stressful events, by clearing out some of the kind of the junk that we're carrying around unconsciously most of the time, it only becomes conscious when kind of a triggering person or a triggering event comes in and goes, whatever they do, we respond with anger or sadness or whatever. It's only really those times where we recognize, hang on a minute, I've been carrying this around. Because if we'd fully dealt with all the things that caused us sadness in our life, we would never need to feel sad anymore. It wouldn't happen. So we're pretty much at the end there. How are you feeling about kind of essentially projects that are given to you with unrealistic expectations and deadlines? It's more of a past one, but by working on that, as new projects get given to you, maybe you get given bigger deadlines, maybe you just approach it more calmly, which allows you to complete it faster, okay, with a clearer head. Okay, so when we're stressed out, yeah, I've done this in the summer holidays, and I'm aware, most people are quite chilled out after kind of we've done what 3.5, 4 weeks now of summer holidays. It is the thing to, yeah, the deep breaths felt easier. Cool. So it's a commonly kind of held belief and held thought within the kind of, I suppose, the holistic healing community, that fear predominantly is held in the diaphragm. So by clearing stress, by clearing fear, our breathing gets easier. Okay. And breathing is really cool because breathing is the bridge between the subconscious and the conscious. Okay. So we can consciously breathe, okay, which we do sometimes. But most of the time we're unconsciously breathing. It's just kind of happening on its own. We're not thinking about breathing. But you can just go, okay, I'm going to do, a box breathing or some other kind of breathing technique. And we then consciously breathe. And it's a bridge between conscious and unconscious. So it's kind of a way of accessing parts of our mind that we don't normally have access to. So by working on either breathing or working on relaxation just in general and de-stressing, that allows us to breathe more deeply. Okay, and breathing more deeply helps us get rid of toxins out of our body. Okay? Most of our toxins come out through our nose, okay, via our breath. I think it's something like 70% of the toxins, okay, which is carbon dioxide in this case, amongst a few other bits that come out in our breath, but mostly carbon dioxide. That's the main toxin in our body. Comes out through our nose. Okay, so if our breathing gets better, the oxygenation of our cells gets better, which means we have a healthier body. So having a relaxed diaphragm and having deep breaths, feeling easier, is a really good thing for our health. So that's fantastic. Really happy with that. How things make you feel to be kind to yourself when running? Yeah, absolutely. Being kind to yourself is kind of like really important. It's very, very important. Okay, we are often our own worst critics in life. Okay, we're very harsh with ourselves. So, of course, we only do as good as everyone is doing their best. Okay? Everyone is doing their best, which is hard to believe. In a certain set of circumstances, everyone is doing their best. Okay, some people's best is from our perspective, not very good, and another person's best from our perspective is outstanding. Okay. But everyone is always doing their best. And that's maybe a good way of not only being kind to yourself, but being kind to other people. Because it's like, do you know what? They actually did do their best at that point in time. Okay. Because of whatever's going on in their life. Okay. And whatever has gone in their life. Okay. Today is their best that they could do that particular activity. Okay. So that's, again, something I probably don't remember very often. But it is something worth remembering. Everyone is doing their best all of the time, even though it doesn't look like it. Okay, so has anyone got any questions? So you'll get the replay of this. I'll probably do that tomorrow, to be honest, because it's going to take time for the computer to do its thing and get it uploaded to where I need to get it uploaded to, and then send it back out. So has anyone got any questions? So yeah, you'll get the process essentially by just through repetition, and you can use this on anything. If I pull up as long as I didn't close it, where is it? Share screen. This one. I'll just give you a little tip on how you can use this. Okay, so what I would say is another way to use this process. Okay, so I've given you the first three, root chakra. The next two, chakra 2, sacral chakra. I keep that name keeps coming and going out of my mind. Okay, sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, third chakra is desire, anger, and pride. Okay, you can take these one at a time. Okay, everyone in life has experienced shame. Everyone in life has experienced guilt. Everyone has experienced apathy, etc. So what you can do is take these one at a time and go hand on root chakra. And I'm going to do pinch nose, and I'm just going to focus on the word shame. Okay. Do the 5 breath process tapping. Da, 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 da. Then I'm going to focus on the word guilt. Keep the hand on the root chakra. Da, 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 tap, tap, tap. Okay. I don't need to move up to the second and third chakra. I could and just go guilt, 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 pinching at each chakra. Okay. And tap, or you could just keep your hand on the root chakra and thinking guilt. Okay. That's the emotion I'm working on. Breathe, say the words. Okay, and you can do that all the way up. So apathy again would be on root chakra, grief and fear would be on second one, and fear, desire, anger, pride on the third one. Doop, doop, doop. And you just do them separately. Okay, because we've all experienced all of those things. And the way I see it is each time, imagine you're in the ocean and you're a cork. You're a cork in the ocean, but you're not on the surface. There's a bunch of weights holding you down. Okay, we should be on the surface. I've just closed the screen, so I'm just going to come back to it. We should be on the surface. Share. Okay, and the surface is kind of love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Okay, that's what the surface is. Okay, but with all these weights that we're carrying, the guilt, the shame, the apathy, grief, etc., okay, they're holding us underwater. Okay, but each one we let go of, each one we just take a chunk off, however long that takes, however much we do it, that cork just starts rising. Okay, and because you're all teachers, I know your general state is going to be at least in this kind of yellow, at the very least in the 200s and above. Okay, which is really good. Okay, to be above 200 is, according to David Hawkins, the guy who kind of came up with all this stuff, puts you in the top 75 to 80% of the world's population. So just being a teacher puts you there. Okay. I could test you individually and find out roughly where you are right now, but it doesn't matter. It's not a contest. Okay. It's just, how do you respond to the world generally? Okay. So even if your level on this is at 350 acceptance, you will still experience grief, apathy, guilt, shame in some areas of your life. You're just less than perhaps someone who's very depressed. Okay. Someone who's really stuck down here. Okay. So It's about just letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go as much as possible. All of these kind of events, people, thoughts that bring us down. And the more you can do that, basically the better life gets, the healthier you will be, the more relaxed you'll be, the more you'll be able to deal with stresses that come up in life. Okay, you'll be able to approach them with a clear head. Okay, which means you're going to solve the problem easier, you're going to solve the problem faster. People are going to be nicer to you, you're going to experience kind of more luck and all these kinds of things. So how often should you complete this? Now, as much as you like, really. It got suggested to me morning and evening, 10 minutes to half an hour. Okay. I would say 10 minutes is probably a really good thing to aim for. Probably once a day would be amazing. But even if you're doing it just a couple of times a week, that's still great progress. Okay. It's way more than what most people would be doing to deal with their kind of stresses and strains. Okay, so most people, they turn to a few gins or a couple of glasses of wine, maybe a few late nights and a packet of crisps, and they'll just sit and stare at the TV for a few hours before going to bed too late and then complain they're tired. Okay, if you do this for 10-15 minutes a couple of times a week, you're going to avoid some of those kind of less favorable habits. I'm not saying drinking wine is bad. I still drink a bit. It's there's things I still do that perhaps are not ideal. Going to happen. But as I do this, those habitual patterns of going to bed late, watching too much TV, getting up late and complaining I'm tired and snoozing the alarm and all those things, they just happen less. Okay, I have more energy and all these kinds of things. So the kind of the quote unquote bad habits go away as you do this. I don't know, Kerry, if you've got kind of things we would call bad habits. Okay, I heard an interesting thing the other day. Yeah, it was yesterday. Because this comes into the guilt category. Okay, because if we have quote unquote bad habits, we're going to feel guilty about, oh, I should have stopped doing that a long time ago, or I should do this. Da, 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 da. So that's guilt. So we don't want to call things bad habits. Okay, it's a habit, and it's okay to have that habit. And when you find that it's okay, and you actually believe yourself when you say it's okay, and you lose the guilt, that's when it becomes easy to stop doing those things. Okay, it's to stop feeling guilt. Okay, it's the guilt that actually drives the habit, or the anger, or the sadness, or the whatever other emotions. It's the emotions behind the things that continue the same types of events and the same kinds of patterns turning up in our lives. So when we let go of those through this process or similar processes, I'm sure there are other ways of doing this, but this is a real easy one. And it's almost like, why is this so easy? It's almost like the worry is that people will think this is so easy, I'm not going to do it. Hey, people like hard. Hey, people like complicated. And when things are not hard and complicated, really oddly, they kind of don't want to do them. My bad habit is stressing and worrying. Yeah. Hey, that's a lot of people's bad habit. A lot of people have that. Okay. So the other thing about letting go is like, my personality, who will I be if I don't have stressing and worrying? If I don't have kind of shouting to control people to get them to do what I want them to do, how am I going to get them to do it? And we start worrying about these things and say, well, if I don't have the guilt and the shame, who am I? If I don't have the anger, who am I? If I don't have the stress, who am I? If I don't have the some kind of label, whatever it is, self-imposed or one that you think other people are saying about you, okay, maybe it has been said to you, okay. If I don't have that label, who am I? Okay, so people are afraid of letting go of their labels Okay. So maybe that's another thing to work on. Okay. So think of your labels. Okay. So I don't know, whatever it is, mum, dad, teacher, partner, son, daughter, I mean, mother, all of these labels come with associations. Okay. They come with emotions and they come with other word associations. So by releasing ourselves from these labels, we release ourselves from the word and emotional associations as well. Okay, so teacher is going to have word associations for you. So teacher might be, teacher for you in your head is stressed, burnt out, 60-hour weeks, commuting, holding it all together at home. Da, 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 da. Okay, so that's the word teacher might have various other word associations. Okay, some of them good, some of them bad. Okay, but by having that word teacher in your head, it's going to just generate an entire list of other words. Okay, same with mother, same with daughter, same with children, same with whatever. Okay, and our environment is going to have a bunch of words associated with it. Okay, so uh, bathrooms might have words associated with it. Okay, it might be maybe bedroom has different words, and obviously activities associated with it. Some might have positive connotations, some might have negative connotations. So we just start taking the stress out of our labels as well. Okay, so there's so many ways you can use this. Okay, and my knowledge on this is will hopefully be expanding um, as long as money agrees with me, and I can go and learn some more about it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it, and that should have deep impacts on how life goes for you at work in particular, but also outside of work, which is really cool. So fantastic. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here live. Being here live is always extra helpful to get some feedback as things go on. And anyone who's watching on a replay, thank you for watching, because you're here now anyway, because there's only ever now, which is all kinds of spiritual stuff I didn't go into today, which is cool. Also very useful stuff. So I'm going to say goodbye, good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this, and see you later. Thank you.